The airport started, not because there was a grand plan to build an airport here. It actually started very casually with, early bush pilots basically gathering here and found it was a really great place for them to base their operations using, seaplanes back in the mid-1920s that were really well suited for helping to explore, the vast northern wilderness in Alberta. The airport's been through a lot of transition over its 90-year history. It started off as a, kind of an informal gathering place, and then it was in the 1930s that the city of Edmonton and the province of Alberta got together and decided that the airport needed some structure. They put in place proper land titles, they put in place proper runways, administration buildings, that sort of thing. The Great Depression was full on at that time. So one of the caveats for the funding that came from the federal government for the creation of all that initial infrastructure was the work had to be done manually and take as long as possible so it could employ as many workers for as long as possible during those tough years in the Depression. Then in the 1940s, when the Second World War was going on, the airport was actually, I guess you could say, conscripted by the U.S. Army to be used as an air base by seaplanes that were used to fly supplies and workers up for the construction of the Alaska Highway and the Canal Pipeline. Today, Cooking Lake Airport, surprisingly, being all volunteer run, is the 6th busiest community airport in Alberta. It's got roughly 26,000 aircraft movements a year. There's 2 flight training schools here. It's used as a base for search and rescue, and it's also used by a number of business operators to, to advance their business interests across Western Canada. And then, of course, there's a recreational component to the airport as well, with about a third of the aircraft out here are kind of more, recreational pilots who just love to fly and go places. The airport is actually, today, it's home base to approximately 200 aircraft, which is more than the number of aircraft in both the Red Deer and Lethbridge airports combined. So it's actually a very significant base of aircraft in Alberta. And as well as being the 6th busiest community airport in Alberta, it's also the province's newest international airport. There's about 35 people work on the airport full-time, and the last study that was done by Edmonton Airports estimated the economic contribution to the surrounding area at about $13 million a year in economic benefits.